So the USCIS has recently released new naturalization eligibility fact sheet. And according to this fact sheet, over 9.2 million green card holders are now eligible for citizenship. And so the USCIS, together with the Biden administration, is working on a campaign to encourage those green card holders to apply for citizenship. So in this video, we'll talk about what are the main requirements to apply for citizenship. So if you're interested in this topic, I'll see you on the other side. Hello everybody, and welcome back to Immigration Channel. This is the place where we get the most up-to-date immigration news, immigration information, and everything else that you need to make your immigration journey less stressful. My name is Jacob Sapochnick, and I'm an immigration attorney located in San Diego, California, and I help clients in all 50 states and all over the world. And in this video, we'll talk about the most recent fact sheet from USCIS, specifically releasing a new fact sheet called Eligible to Naturalize. And based on their statistics, they determined that over 9.2 current green card holders are eligible to naturalize. And so in this video, we'll talk about all the requirements for naturalization. But before we do that, if you're here for the first time, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos, and also give us a big like so YouTube will be able to show this video to more people just like you. So the government is now interested in you becoming a US citizen. They are working on a big initiative with the Biden administration to create more marketing campaigns, more incentives, and maybe even giving some money incentives to certain green card holders to apply for citizenship. But for you to determine if you qualify for citizenship, in this video, I'm going to talk about what are the actual current requirements for a green card holder to become a US citizen. Let's start with the requirement number one, minimum age. The minimum age to allow you to apply for naturalization is 18 years old. Unless you're applying based on wartime military service, at that point you can apply at any age. The general requirement is that you have to be at least 18 years old to become a US citizen. The second thing is that you have to demonstrate continuous and physical presence in the United States. You must have continuously lived in the United States as a green card holder for at least 5 years since you obtained your green card, or 3 years if you're living and married to a US citizen. Continuously means that you didn't take any trips outside of the United States which lasted 6 months or longer. And these 6 months or longer, they're counted during the 3 or 5 year period that you have to demonstrate for citizenship. So the bottom line is that you're allowed to leave the United States during those 3 or 5 years, but you have to remember to return within 6 months every time. A very important point is that if you leave the United States for more than 6 months, the USCIS could presume that you have abandoned your residency, and that could impact your citizenship application process. Of course, there are ways to overcome that presumption, depending on how long you stayed overseas, what was the reason for your travel, and what documents you can show that you have not abandoned your residency in the United States. The most important thing to remember is that as long as you can show that you kept your ties to the United States, it's going to be much easier for you to convince the USCIS that you haven't abandoned your residency. How do you demonstrate physical presence? You have to show that you lived in the United States at least half of the 5 years, which essentially comes down to 913 days, or half of the 3 years if you're married to a US citizen, which is 548 days for the duration of your residency. The next thing that you have to demonstrate is residency. And this is different than continuance and physical presence that I just mentioned before. The resident requirement means that you have to reside in the state or district where you're applying for your citizenship at least 90 days before applying for your citizenship application. In the USCIS district, the definition of that is the actual address where you put on your naturalization form. You have to reside in this address at least for 3 months before applying for your citizenship application. The next requirement is good moral character. Moral character is a standard as defined by USCIS, the standard of the average citizen. And this standard is decided by the government on a case-by-case basis. But what does it mean having a good moral character? It means the following. Number one, you didn't commit certain crimes. For example, murder, illegal gambling, prostitution, defrauding the US government for immigration purposes. You didn't lie to the USCIS officer during the immigration interview. You didn't receive 2 or more DUI convictions in the 3 or 5 year period before applying for US citizenship. Now remember, when USCIS looks at good moral character, they're always going to look at the original applicant's criminal record. They're not going to care about any post-conviction like expungements or stuff like that. It's always the original record. So expungement for immigration purposes will never work. And finally, they're checking English proficiency and civics knowledge. As part of the naturalization process, you have to pass a two-part test. Number one, an English language test that evaluates your reading and speaking skills. And number two, a civic test that evaluates your knowledge of U.S. history and government. Final requirement, military and civil service registration. You must be willing to serve in the U.S. military or perform civil services for the United States if ever called upon to do so. Generally, what that means, you have to register with the Selective Service if you're male at a particular age. If you're a male and you lived in the United States between the ages of 18 and 26, you have to register for Selective Service. If you don't, you have to provide an explanation on an exemption letter, which is always possible to do if you didn't register. And finally, to become a U.S. citizen, you have to show allegiance to the United States. It simply means that you support and believe in the United States Constitution. The way you do that, you swear in a public ceremony where you and other naturalization applicants recite the oath of allegiance, the final step of the naturalization process. So there you have it. These are the main requirements to apply for naturalization. And as you know, if you're a green card holder and you had your green card over 5 years or over 3 years if you're living and married with a U.S. citizen, now is the time to apply for citizenship. The government is now encouraging applicants to, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, the government identified over 9.2 green card holders that could be eligible for naturalization, and they're going to do a lot of efforts to encourage those applicants to become U.S. citizens. So if you're eligible to become a U.S. citizen, text me 619-483-4549. I'm here to help you go through the whole process, prepare you for the interview, and make sure that you become a U.S. citizen as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.